Today I'm going to show you how to make this easy no-peak pork chops and wild rice casserole. So let's get started. So let's get right into these ingredients. To make this recipe, you're going to need 1 box or package of wild rice and the seasoning pack. I've got some chicken broth here, 4 pork chops, sour cream, salt, pepper, and onion powder, and 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. And that's all you need. So this is some classic comfort food. We've got pork chops and rice and a creamy sauce. And I promise you, we can get this recipe done in just 3 easy steps. So the first one is we're gonna make our own cream of chicken soup. And I've got a great shortcut with easy ingredients that you're gonna love. So we're gonna add 16 ounces of sour cream to a large mixing bowl. And then I've got 2 cups of chicken broth. And then that salt, pepper, and onion powder. And it's a ½ teaspoon of each. And that's all cream of chicken soup really is. It's just cream and broth and seasonings. And there's no reason you can't make your own instead of buying the canned version at the store, which has lots of sodium and lots of preservatives. So we're gonna whisk this up. Then we're gonna stick it in the microwave for 2 minutes. And then we'll add some flour and we'll be finished. So now that we're out of the microwave and this cream is nice and warm, we're ready to put in the flour. And I've got 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. And when the cream is warm, that just helps the flour dissolve a little better. And that's why we heat it up. You definitely could make this recipe on the stovetop. It would take a little longer. And that's why we're using the microwave, just to make it a little quicker and a little more convenient. Okay, so now we're ready for step 2, and that's adding the seasoning packet and the wild rice from our package of wild rice. And we're just gonna mix it right into this sauce. I've got a 9x13 that I've already sprayed with some nonstick cooking spray. And we're gonna pour this rice and this sauce right there in the bottom. And you'll wanna make sure that the rice is evenly distributed. So you'll just take your whisk and kind of whisk around and make sure that the rice is spread out throughout the bottom of the dish. And that's step number 2.
And now we're ready for step 3, which means taking our pork chops, which I've sprinkled with a little salt and pepper on each side, and nestling them right down into this rice and our sauce. So that as the pork chops bake in the oven, the meat drippings are gonna get down in that sauce. It's gonna turn into a savory gravy. The rice is gonna bake up nice and fluffy, and those pork chops are gonna be so tender. The last thing that we're gonna do is take a piece of foil and cover up our 9x13 really tightly. We're gonna pop it in a 375 oven for about an hour. Now it's called no peak pork chop for a reason, because you can't look underneath that foil.
Okay, so our pork chops have baked for an hour. And I wanna show you what they look like coming right out of the oven and how to get a nice browned pork chop for a really pretty dish. So we're gonna take off this foil. And you can see that right now the pork chops are really blonde. And I've got a sheet pan here where I've just laid the foil right there on top of it. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the pork chops out of this dish using a pair of tongs. I'm gonna lay it right on that foil. And I'm gonna slip those under the broiler for about 3 minutes. And while that is browning up, we're going to fluff the rice, and then we'll put the pork chops back in the pan. Okay, so we're just going to take a fork and we're just going to fluff that rice. And what that really looks like is you're just getting all of that good sauce in there. And this is a good creamy rice, kind of like a risotto. And you guys know how much I love a creamy rice dish. So this is almost like a rice and a gravy and a pork chop all together. Okay, so those pork chops have come out of the broiler. We're going to nestle them back down in the rice. You can see how brown they've gotten, nice golden edges. It just looks pretty. Now to finish this recipe before you take it to the table, we're going to sprinkle it with a little parsley. And those fresh herbs, they're not just for decoration, they also add a lot of fresh flavor, and you're not going to want to miss that brightness in this recipe. So if you like this recipe, don't forget to subscribe, not just to the YouTube channel, but to southerndiscourse.com, where I'm cooking up the easy Southern food that you know and love, and putting it together in weekly meal plans so that you always have something to make for dinner. And you don't want to miss my new series, Dinner with Friends.
As always, I can't wait to see this recipe on your table really soon. From the kitchen to the table, I've got you covered.